Hi, students. Now, I think I've got the building up sufficiently in terms of structure to start addressing the facade at this point here. Okay, so I'm going to move into my south elevation, and you can see that I've got my PDF in here, and I just move it to the background, and that is the elevation. Obviously, there's no panels on it. Now, I have four videos that I did before um, on creating the panel, and I'm going to upload those for you in this series. They're for a building that we did either last year or the year before, but the principles are the exact same, and the panels are not too different either. So once you understand the principles of how to create the panel, you will be able to create any of the four options that Pierce has done for you here. Okay. Now, each option A, B, C, and D, we're going to have variations of that particular panel. And that's what I'm going to take a look at in this video here. And I want you to, we're going to work out how many panels we need and what the sizes of those panels are. And that's important, okay? The actual sizes of the panels. And why is that important? Because what we're going to do is when we create each panel family. So if it is panel A, we will have A1, A2, A3, A4. If it's panel B, it'll be panel B1, B2, B3, B4. Okay, so something along those lines. And the reason that we have that amount of panels is that I want you to create the panels to match the size. So it's going to be a length by a height here for each of the panels. So the first thing we've got to decide is how many panels do we need, and then we have to make sure that we get the sizes of those correct. Because we're going to use, there's a couple of, I did explain before, there's a couple of methodologies that we can use in order to get this facade done. But perhaps in this occasion, I think the simplest one to do is to use the curtain wall system, the curtain wall panel system. And so you would have done a good bit of work on this in BIM 3 with Tom. And that exercise, that project that we did in terms of creating panels and swapping the glazing panel out for a solid panel that you had created, be it a louver or a Corten steel with punctures in it and things like that. It doesn't really matter. The principle is still the same. And that's the simplest way to do this. Now, we could, create these panels and put in lots of parameters that will move the glazing this way and that way and up and down and whatever, but we just don't have time to do that. So what I want to be able to do is when I create the glass, the curtain walling, and I've got a panel in here, and my panels will be divided by mullions. I want to know what size that is because I want to be able to take out the glass and put in the panel of roughly the same size. It doesn't have to be absolutely spot on, but it needs to be roughly the same size. Now you can see that if I come back, I'll just bring back the PDF. So I'm moving it from background to foreground here. So here's panel one. I would suggest that is that size there, and that's more or less what Pierce has drawn down here. Here's panel two. Okay, so it comes over on this side here, but actually in this facade, in the south elevation facade, here's panel three. So it's going to be this little one here. All right. So we've got three panels of three different sizes. So we have to find out what those sizes are. So that'll be panel A1, panel A2, panel A3. Now, is there a fourth one that we need in terms of coming around the corner here? That they seem to be the same there. Now, I don't have north and south elevations here, so there probably will be, or there will be a fourth panel because you can see that this is curtain wall glazing that we're going to take the whole way up here. So the panel is actually just going to be that size there. But over on the other side, I think where the lift shaft comes up, the panel is going to be actually something around that size there. So that'll be the fourth one. All right. So we'll have panels we'll have 4 separate panels for panel A, 4 separate panels for panel B, and so on. So again, the principles will be the same for A, B, C, and D, in terms of the creation of the panel and making sure that you get the sizes right. Okay, so what I'll do here is I'm going to show you how we can size up the panels, and there's a few things to be taken into consideration here as well. Nothing's easy. Escape. Now, what I've done here is that I have divided up my panels using reference planes here. Okay, so if you click on the reference plane, and I've gone to the outside of the wall here. Now, again, if you think about it, we're going to have 2 panels butting together. Do you know what I mean? So that we'll have 2 panels. I'm trying to get this on the camera here. So 2 panels coming in like that. So does that mean that one panel needs to be slightly longer? Okay. Or are we going to have a special corner piece or something like that? So Pierce spoke about that in TDS as well. Do you do a miter joint or a butt joint or whatever? And again, you'll have to take those into consideration. Now, the nice thing about it is that once we get the 4 panels made, they're all editable. So you will be able to go back in and do a couple of edits if it's going to be mitered or butt jointed or it needs to be a little bit longer or something like that. All right. The first thing we need to do is to get the size. So that's what I've done here. I have created some reference planes, drawing down here. That's where that joint will be. That's where the next joint will be. Okay, and actually that's where the next joint will be, and that's where the next joint will be. On this south elevation. So panels 1, 2, and 3. And just to give you an idea of what I'm talking about here, and again, I need to pick this and put it in the background. So I use the PDF roughly to get my reference planes in. Now there's that one there. It's a good idea to name these as well, you know. So this would be panel A1. Okay, I'm just going to call that panel A1, and this is on the south elevation, so perhaps we should ask a couple of C there as well. Now, don't be too worried about these. By naming these, it's good to distinguish them because they actually will come in handy at a later date. In terms of a few operations that we have to do. Okay, and then there's the next one and so on. Now, so I roughly have the panel, and then what I've done is I've come across again on the break lines here, and I'm bringing this particular reference plane more or less to the underside of the balcony there, right? And so what I'll do is I'll bring up a section here as well and show this in a little bit more detail. So our panel, if you like, I'll go into annotate here and I'll just do a fill region, and there's a solid gray there. So the panel will go roughly from that point to, let's get in there and get the intersection there, finish that. Okay, now that's roughly what the panel is going to be like, and that'll copy the whole way down. Now, what I want to do is get into a building section here and show you what I mean as well. So let's get to section 1 and section 2. Okay. Now, you can see now I can see my reference planes here again, which is really handy, and yeah, I don't know why they're out so far there. I can understand it here in the south elevation because we have our I need to make sure that they are. I think they should actually be here. I seem to have them wider there on the outside, and I'm not 100% sure why that's happening. Maybe it's because of the columns, but the columns are here. Okay, so do I need to bring those reference planes in a piece here? Yeah, I think I do actually. So I'm going to use my modify align tool, and I'm going to align to there, align that. Okay, and then I'll come over here and do that again. Let's get in here tight, so it'll be to this align that. Okay. Okay, so I think what's sticking out in the background there is the PDF. Okay, so be careful that you apply the reference planes to the structure that you created, not to the PDF. All right. So, do I have my reference plane in there correctly? I do. All right. Now, that's better now, and I've adjusted the um, I've adjusted the fill region there just to show that as well. Right now, so I'm going to take out this fill region again here now, and I'm just going to use it. So this is, if you take, this is roughly what our panel is going to be. So it'd be around, say, 275, something like that. Okay, and it's going to come down onto, I'll finish that. Okay, so it's going to come down. It needs to be supported up here. So it'll be, you'll have your, that control piece that goes in underneath here, uh, the um, the rod that comes out, and you've got that nut that's able to adjust that from kind of this way to that way, if you know what I mean. You know, that type of thing. The plate that is embedded into the panel itself. What did Pierce call it? He had a particular name for it. And it'll come in and it'll sit here on top of the slab there, right? And then I'm going to bring down that is the rough shape of my panel. So I'm bringing it down to this level here, so that there's plenty of room for reinforcement and everything else like that. And then I'm going to start the second panel from there, and then I'll have the rod in here, the straightening rod, the balancing rod, and then the second one will come down here, and again the landing piece will come in here. I forget the name of that, Janie Max. And then so that'll repeat straight right the way down here. Now ignore the capping for the moment. That's going to be a totally separate panel that we'll do for that. So that kind of works for me. You need to work that out for yourselves. Okay, so I've got a distance between those two there and this one here. And the fact that I have a distance is I can now dimension. Okay, I can dimension each of my reference planes like so. Okay, and we'll bring those out there. So this one's going to be 3150, and that, again, yours might be slightly different. It might be taller or shorter. Okay, and then on this case here, I'm going to do this again. I'm going to take my dimensions from there. That'll be that panel. That's the glazing. Okay, and then we've got this panel here. So if I take these all the way up there, now I've got a height by a length for each of my panels, and that's a really good starting point for the project here. Okay, so just to recap, what I've done is I've gone into architecture and into reference planes, and I've positioned the reference planes on the outside face of the structure at these two ends here, and then I've placed them on the joint of the panels in between, if you like. So I've got panel A1, A2, and A3 on this south elevation here, and they're the ones I'll probably construct first. I'll construct that one and that one, and then it looks to me like both of these panels can be reused here. Now, there's a little bit of forgiveness in the curtain wall panel that you will be creating, then substituting out from the glass panel. So um, what I'm saying is that it will stretch a little bit longer, and it will stretch a little bit higher or lower, whatever you need to be. Um, if you go too far, it'll just break up the family. It won't work, is what I'm telling you. But 100 mil this way, or 100 mil that way, or 100 mil up, or 100 mil down, it'll slot in very neatly into um, the same size as the glass, if you know what I mean. So it'll take up any slack on the top, the bottom, or either side of that. So once you get this to these dimensions here, so in this case, okay, that's not right. So in this case, it'll be 3150 by 9630. That's the dimensions I'm going to use in order to create the first panel. So I hope that's good with everybody. And then once you write those down, panel A1 is this size, panel A2 is that size, and so on. So you got those sizes. Now, when you dig into the four videos that I have in creating the panel, you'll see how important that is as well. Okay. And I've got a couple of other little techniques within those videos that will be very important in terms of aligning the panels, so that they'll arrive at this point here, and we get a neoprene strip in between each of the panels as well. All right. So once you've got the sizes, then watch the four videos, and then go ahead and build your particular nominated panel. And as I said, the fourth one, we've got three here. The fourth one will be on the opposite elevation to this one here, where if I go into my 3D here, so those panels will all fit here. Those panels will fit there. Let's just come around the corner here. They will fit here by the looks of things, and the only extra panel that you will have, okay, sorry, my mouse is a pain, but is this one here. So you'll have the long panel there, that one there, and you'll have to create a new panel to go across the lift shaft wall as it goes up there. Okay.